So this episode is with Dan from Dan Brown Fly Fishing. You might have seen him on Instagram, TikTok or YouTube. Dan, thanks for coming on, mate.
Welcome, thanks for having me.
Right, so save me doing the job, you can do the job is, who are you, what do you do?
Hi, I'm Dan, fish competitive in Scotland, pro fly tyer, ambassador for SMG fishing. All started off 20 years ago fishing with my dad. All started off on rivers and small still waters down on the River Tweed in Scotland. Yeah, it was just like my dad took me out fishing when I was younger, and I just got hooked. My dad used to tie his own flies, and I started tying my own flies, and then before you know it, I was out fishing every single day after school, totally addicted. I remember telling my mum and dad I was going to school, but I was really skiving and away fishing down the river. And it just went from there. I started when I was like 8 or 9, maybe a bit younger. I remember my dad used to take me out in his backpack when I was a baby and push me on the pram down on the Esk. But then when I managed to get out myself and buy my own fishing stuff, just pure got really addicted and took it from there. And here I am, 33 years old, fishing competitive at a high level, trying to get my first Scotland cap, pro fly tyer, and pretty much full on.
Well, you just pretty much answered all the questions. We could probably stop the episode there now. So, where have I gone? So we've gone through loads of them. Right. Fly fishing. You see, obviously we fly fish. As we said, you tie your flies. Is there any other fishing you do?
No, so I just fly fish only. I do get asked this question quite a lot from my viewers on my channels. I do people ask if I catch fish for pike, etc. I have caught pike, I have caught carp on the fly, but I prefer to just fly fish for trout and salmon and trout.
I watched a video actually not so long ago about a guy catching carp on the fly. It looked quite a bit of an adrenaline rush sort of.
It's good fun. It definitely puts a more adrenaline rush on the rod, on the fly rod, because the carp they do fight a lot bigger. They're a lot bigger. They're a bit stronger, and obviously they try. Obviously, when we fish on the stocky bashing, on these still waters, they're all stocked fish, but these carp are a bit more wiser. They're harder to catch, but when you do get one, they are good fun.
So my aim this in the next 12 months is pike.
Pike.
I've said the last couple of years I'm going to do it, and I haven't done it, and whether I spin for them or whether I fly for them, I don't know. I'm now set up for both, so I can do it's just getting out and finding some.
I've caught quite a lot of pike when I've been out fly fishing on Lake Menteith in Stirling, and they're a pain, to be honest. When you're out fishing in a competition and you think you've hooked into a big trout, and then you realise you've hooked a massive pike. But the amount of pike that I've caught this year on like ridiculous size flies, like I'm saying, I've had pike up to 20 pound this year on the lake, on buzzers that are like size 10s and 12s. It's mental that they can take a buzzer that size for such a size of fish.
Yeah, balmy. I had a friend actually up north who took somebody out for a bit of mental health type sort of thing, because he was losing his job and life was sort of going down the patch. He'd come for a bit of a fish. You know, just go stand down that lock where sort of the lock left. Was the water I can't remember if it's where the water was coming in the lock or going out. Just there, and he just literally just flicked the fly into the water. Next minute, this monstrous pike is sort of hanging off the end of the line. And both of them didn't know what to do at that point because they just weren't even ready for anything. So yeah, it's quite amazing, really. So you said about we both said about you tying the flies. Why do you tie the flies? Why don't you just go somewhere and buy the flies like any normal person would do?
So it all started off when I first started fishing. My dad got me into fishing. My dad is a very good rod, competitive rod. Doesn't really fish as much anymore, but he used to tie his own buzzers. And buzzer fishing is probably the best fishing you can get for fly fishing, and I was like, when I see my dad tying the flies and then in all the different, I think it's like seeing all the materials back in the days and all the different colours and the patterns, it kind of just drawed me in and I got really addictive to it. Whereas to now, I think the buzz that you get out of tying your own flies and catching your own flies is so much better than going to the shop and buying them. I do buy flies off fellow anglers that I fish with. I don't fish lures or anything. I fish competitive and international size flies only, so buzzers, nymphs, boobies, fabs to dry flies. I do pull the odd snake, but tying my own flies and catching on them, and the reason with tying my own flies and selling them to people is I get a good adrenaline rush of people coming to me saying, "Oh, I had a great day, Dan. I had 20 on that fly, I had 10 on that fly, can you tie me more?" And it is a good feedback, and it gives me something. It's hard to say, it's just like a really good rush. Again, it just gets the heart pumping, etc. But yeah, that's the whole reason why I started tying.
So, how I found you was through TikTok and your lives. Why did you bother? Why have you bothered going down that road?
So I obviously got a lot of followers on my Instagram page, but I thought there's a bigger audience out on TikTok nowadays, and TikTok seems to be the new Instagram and new Facebook. And I struggled at first when I first started the channel to get the followers, the 900 followers, but once you get the 900 followers then you can go live. So the whole point of me setting the channel up, the whole point of me setting up the channel is to showcase obviously what I do and to help younger guys. I mean, I've got a younger audience. I've got a lot of guys that are good anglers that tie, but the whole reason I done it was with tips and tricks, to be honest. Showcase my flies, what I do, my work, etc., and to try and help other people. And obviously every day is a learning day. I learn from other guys that say, "Oh, why do you not do it this way?" or "Why do you do it this way?" But yeah, that's why I started on TikTok.
So, do you enjoy doing the lives, or is it just a means to an end?
No, I enjoy it. At first I was a bit nervous, but now I'm quite confident on it. It's now part of my daily routine that I try and go live every day or two for maybe an hour and a half tying. I tie every day, so I thought if I'm tying every day, I may as well record myself and show people what I'm doing. And I think, yeah, it's just to help other people, and that's why I do it.
Okay, so like if I tied a fly, it would be just a ball of something with a hook in there somewhere. It would be horrendous. It would look like a 5-year-old made it at school. Is there any flies that you can't tie?
I don't tie like saltwater or pike flies, etc. I don't fish them. I normally just fish for, obviously I fish for trout and trout only, brown trout and rainbow trout. So I just stick to tying patterns that I use for myself. Yeah. I do get asked quite a lot, can I tie this and tie that? But if I've got the materials, I will try my best. But I tend to just stick to the patterns that I use myself.
That's fair enough. Is there any sort of patterns you want to try and haven't tried?
No, I think I've pretty much tied every pattern that you could possibly think of. Obviously, tying for 18 years and 10 years as a pro tyer, part of different groups and different companies, but obviously you see so many flies and so many variants of each pattern, it's hard to keep up with everything.
What's your favourite fly to tie?
Buzzers.
Buzzers.
Buzzers is if you ask any fly fisher or competitive fly fisher, they'll tell you buzzers or dries are the best fishing. For myself, buzzer fishing. My dad only fishes buzzers, and I've stuck to buzzer fishing. I'll fish buzzers all year if I can get away with them.
Oh, I've never had any luck with buzzers.
Savage takes, the best takes you'll ever get. It's proper static fishing. People are always like asking me, "How do you fish buzzers, Dan?" And I'm like, the trick is casting the line out. For myself, the slower and the more static they are, with the odd tweak, so when they come up in the water column, and as you tweak them, they drop back in the water column, and that is a natural of how the fish feed. So they're always looking, so they give that twitch effect on the buzzers, and the takes, is unbelievable. Anyone that fishes buzzers, I'll tell you, the buzzer takes are the best fishing out there.
I'll try it next time I go out. So, right now I know, before I even ask this question, I know the answer to it because we've spoke about it and you've mentioned it quite a bit. So I was going to say, what's your favourite species to chase?
Obviously rainbow trout and brown trout are my special, what I tend to target. Obviously now I've come out of the comp scene because of it's out of season now, we're finished. Now I target the grayling for on the river through the winter.
Right, yeah.
So I grayling fish through December, January.
Do they give you much of a fight? Or much of a
grayling, good fight, yeah, good fighting fish. I like them.
Do you have to work hard to get them?
The colder the better the conditions.
Right.
When like yesterday was a good day. It was the first day with really hard frost. The better conditions is when it's obviously snowing. Hard frost is the best. But yeah, they do fight well.
So you said you fish with your dad, and that's how it sort of all started through dad. You got any real sort of sticking favourite memories?
I remember there's one time where we were fishing in a place down in the Scottish borders called Clerklands Fly Fishery, and we were camping and fishing, and we had my little brother. As I remember, my dad was out in the boat and I was fishing from the bank, and we was casting out, and we were very early. I'm talking like 5-6 in the morning, early rise, and we were getting plenty of fish, and I was hammering them from the bank on. I think at the time we were fishing a booby with a couple of dialbacks, and all of a sudden I heard this big massive splash. And I was like looking around and I was like, what is that noise? What's that noise? And here's my brother. He's came out of the tent sleepwalking, walked right out of the tent, right off the platform and right into the water and splash, and it's just it was absolutely mental. So that was one time that was so funny. There was another time we were fishing on the Tweed with my dad. This one gets brought up quite a lot. So we were fishing and I was quite young at the time, so I wasn't allowed to wade, but my dad was wading down this stretch and it's quite fast flowing water. It's quite a deep channel and I was fishing in between the trees, and then for all of a sudden the gunshot came off in the woods, and all the ducks flew out through the trees, and as I was casting I hooked one of them. And I remember shouting to my dad, oh, I've hooked a duck, and I'm like holding the rod. I was only like 8 or 9 at the time, and holding the rod, and my dad's like, hold on, I'll come and try and help you. And next minute here is my dad's hooked into a fish, and he slipped and got pushed, dragged down the rapids in his waders, still got the fish on, and here's me with his duck flapping about. That always gets brought up. That was quite a good memory.
A friend of mine who is interested in all this, doesn't really do anything about it, his dad used to take him fishing, just coarse fishing, nothing. The story he always tells me is had a cast. As he cast, there's either a goose or a swan goes by, hooks this whatever it was, animal of some description, and then obviously it fucks off. So they run around the lake trying to sort it all out, and then as they're trying to like wrestle this goose or swan, whatever it is, to the ground to try and free it from the line, this guy comes up behind him, you gotta be more careful where you're fishing. And his dad just turned around, he gotta be more careful where he's flying. And just absolute carnage. So yeah, brilliant. Where's your favourite place to go and fish?
My favourite boat venue in Scotland is, I've got two, but my top one is Glencore's, which you can see from my hat. I guide on there. I fish there a couple of times a week through when it's open, from March right through until the end of October. It's based in Edinburgh, up at Pentlands Hill, up behind the army barracks on the other side of Flotterston Inn. So Glencore's is my top venue. Other than that, Lake Menteith, that's where the home of the Scottish Nationals, all the championships, all the competitions, all the qualifiers are all held on there. and yeah, they're my two favourite places to fish in Scotland.
So this year I didn't make it. I was planning on a bit of a venture with my daughter to go to like Slovenia for a bit of a fish.
Oh yeah.
Never happened this year, but it will happen next year, I should imagine. Is there anywhere you want to go?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Which we will
for wild brown trout.
Yeah. Just New Zealand?
I'm tempted to try all different kind of fishing, but yeah, New Zealand for my top fishing. For wild brown trout, they're absolute monsters. Iceland for also wild brown. I would like to go to Iceland. It's meant to be amazing for fishing.
That's on the list for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
I actually got offered to go to Iceland next year with one of my friends from England. He just offered me. It's quite expensive. I think it's going to cost. Would it work out at $6,000 for a week's fishing? But that's guides, everything included.
Yeah, and there's like some funny rules with the tackle and stuff like that as well. So you're pretty much better off just to
take their tackle. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
told me that.
I'm looking at it, depending if how money and financial goes next year, but I'm pretty sure my wife will be got other things to say then, pending $6,000 to go fishing.
Yeah, just lie. Like the rest of us, just lie. Oh yeah, it's not that much. Just not that much.
Aye.
So what are your thoughts? These questions here I just stuck in because of podcasts I've done before. But it's quite interesting to get people's views on it. Is obviously at the moment you've got the likes of Lake Windermere, where it's about all the sewage and stuff going into it, and it's being a bit of a mess. And our rivers in general are a bloody mess. Whether you're up here, down in England, Wales, or wherever, it seems to be one of the natural things where they just get abused and not looked after. What are your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, I don't agree with it, to be honest. The local water, actually, the Esk, it runs through Musselburgh where I live, and it gets polluted further up by the Duke's estate, and it's been really bad this year, really bad with pollution. It's hard to say, it's like a green algae right all the way down it, and it just covers it. There's been a lot of dead fish being swept up on the banks. I have no idea what the cause of it is. There's obviously these big pipes where the whatever comes out of them are getting flooded into the rivers. But yeah, I think it's a total disgrace, because that's like saying to us, imagine us just going down the street and just throwing your rubbish into the river. You would get jailed, or going in and pouring your paint or something. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't happen, but someone's obviously getting away with it, and I totally don't agree with it.
There's something wrong, isn't there, when you think what we're a stone's throw from here, from Torness, from the power station,
yeah,
and the water's clean. They're probably going out that power station than it is what's running through a local river.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's criminal, really. I mean, and also you're more likely to hook a fucking shopping trolley or something than you are a fish.
Yeah.
It is painful to think about. And I've said it before, like, where we had flooding last year at home, real bad flooding. It was carnage, to the point where just round the corner from my house, there was people canoeing down the road.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
And you think, if farmers open the ditches out again and stuff like that gives time for water to run slowly off the rivers, off the fields into the rivers. It'd filter it, so it'd be cleaner water. By the time it'd gone done that, and then finally into the water course, it'd be cleaner water. And then, I don't know what the answer is, but I know at the moment we're bloody struggling. And the last question I've got written down here, which is always a fun one, is the whole rewilding thing. So we've got lots of beavers now being reintroduced to the UK. At the moment, most of them are all behind bars. Obviously, everybody wants to see more otters and bits and pieces. Now, I know what your thoughts would be on otters and minks, stuff like that. I asked that question. But what's your thoughts on like the rewilding and like the beavers coming back into it?
To be honest, I don't actually mind. To be honest, it's part of natural. It's part of life. They were here before us. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind it. As a fisherman, for me, my biggest concern is cormorants.
Yeah.
They do more damage and they eat more than otters, etc. and I know there's for a fact there's hundreds and hundreds of them down on the waters in England, but obviously in Scotland there's loads. We've got them on my local and Glencore's. They're on every water nowadays because they know it's easy fish, it's easy picking. Now I know you're not allowed to shoot them, but there has to be a where they draw the line, because at the end of the day, fisheries, it's somebody's income, they're trying to make a money out of it, and these birds are obviously now getting protected.
Everything's got to survive, but that works on both hands. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the videos of the guys like in Sri Lanka, wherever it is, fishing with the cormorants?
Yeah, I have. Where they put ropes around them to stop them swallowing.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You can see why they're getting fish out, can't you? Because they're just machines when it comes.
Yeah. Like I also when we were talking about cormorant fishing, like I've been on Lake of Menteith, and you hear everyone complaining about cormorants fishing for the fish and damaging the fish, but